Uprights Live, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with Joe. My name is Matt, and we are reviewing this Week 12 Sunday slate. Then we're going to try to get to a Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football preview at the end. We're going to get into as much as we possibly can because we're running late on time because this Cowboys and Eagles game just finished. The Cowboys go to 5-5-1, and the Eagles drop down to 8-3. So we might as well just start there because this game just finished. Joe, I don't know if you saw on Friday, both me and Sammy had correctly predicted that the Cowboys were going to win this game. I did not think it was going to be because of a 21-0 Eagles start and then blowing a 21-point lead after that. But here we are. The Dallas Cowboys come out with a big time victory here on this late Sunday slate. Joe, what are your takeaways here from this Cowboys and Eagles game?
You know, it's the NFL's perplexing this year. That's my takeaway.
Weird.
It seems week to week you can't possibly make a prediction or even remotely come close to understanding what's happening in the NFL. The Cowboys had no business winning this game early on, and Jalen Hurts comes out and he goes, "I'm going to throw 39 times." The Eagles have never been built around that. They're not built around that. It's like they're just trying to prove everyone wrong that they can throw the football. I mean, he threw for almost 300 yards. He only had one sack, and that was a pretty important sack that he took late in the game there that kind of, spelled the end there. A.J. Brown finally gets involved, 110 yards, touchdown, 13.8 average. Devontae Smith balls out. But at the end of the day, you're looking at it from this perspective where you're kind of like, was that really the way to go here? Because they only ran the ball 18 times, and your entire team has been built around Saquon Barkley. It's been built around Jalen Hurts running the football. It's been built around throwing the ball 25 times, but rushing for 25 times and being balanced. 39-18 is not balanced. This is not what the Eagles are built to do, right? And I don't know. That's kind of my takeaway from this. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, who ran a more balanced offense, a more balanced attack than the Philadelphia Eagles did, and kind of beat them at their own game. 125 rushing yards, 31 attempts, for average, 354 passing yards. I mean, you expect the Cowboys to throw the football. That's what they're built to do. They don't really have they have an okay running game. Javonte Williams, Malik Davis are there. You kind of see some of these guys. That's their game. All right. To throw the football. Eagles, it's not your game. You're on the road. Control the clock. Run the football. It's what you're built to do.
It's not their game, but Saquon had 10 carries for 22 yards. Like, I agree with you that he definitely needs more volume. Like, you got to keep giving him the ball. And Saquon's had a lot of games this year where he's gotten a lot of volume, but not a lot of yards. But if something's not working, like you kind of have to pivot at a certain point. And they were throwing the ball well to start off this game. I mean, we saw A.J. Brown, especially in these first couple of drives, really start to get going. And like you mentioned, I wonder if that is because of the outside noise. I wonder if, like, Kevin Patullo has started to adjust his game plans because there's so much outside noise. AJ Brown, even in AJ Brown's interviews, he seems like unhappy about everything that's going on. Like, everything seems unhappy and clouded with this Eagles offensive situation. But to start off the game, they were cooking. Like, AJ Brown was cooking. Jalen Hurts looked great. There was another really nice deep ball and a really nice catch by Devontae Smith that happened later in this game. But we saw the Cowboys start to get some stops, start to make some plays offensively on their own. George Pickens, we were talking about it pre-show. George Pickens is showing what kind of receiver he can be. He has been absolutely unbelievable so far this year. And then the couple of big turnovers at the end. We saw Saquon Barkley with that big fumble while the Eagles were driving, and then another big fumble on that punt return by the Eagles as well. But I talked about it. I talked about it on the live on Friday. I thought the Cowboys could win this game because Dak Prescott at home against NFC opponents does really, really well. He's now 22-2 at home against NFC East opponents in his Dallas Cowboys career. Absolutely unbelievable statistic there from Dak. And then I talked about it as well. This Cowboys defense has started to look better these last couple of weeks. Now that Quinnen Williams is in there, they're doing a lot better job of stopping the run. Now that they have a couple of interior defensive tackles like Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams there on the inside. And then we saw, obviously, crazy. Cowboys come out with a win. They're 5-5-1 now. I don't think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs now because there's just too many teams in the NFC that are above them. They got up to such a bad start. But Cowboys fans got to be really excited with this win. We saw the very first game of the year, it was a super close game in Philly on Thursday Night Football, and the Cowboys couldn't find a way to win. And this one was a super close game here on Sunday, and they found a way to win it. So good for the Dallas Cowboys, moving to 5-5-1. But like I said, Joe, we got a lot of topics to cover. And the next one I want to talk about is another one that we talked about pre-show. The Green Bay Packers, they moved to 7-3-1 over the Minnesota Vikings, who moved to 4-7. And Joe, I don't really have any takeaways from the Packers' perspective. It's obviously a good divisional win. We got to talk about JJ McCarthy, bro. JJ McCarthy. And when I say we have to talk about JJ McCarthy, Vikings fans, you got to be real with yourself. Okay. These are not just like regular rookie quarterback struggles that JJ McCarthy is having right now. Like nothing regular about what's happening right now for JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy has been the single worst starting quarterback in football this year. Maybe not even the single worst starting quarterback this year, starting quarterback in football this year. Maybe the single worst quarterback period in football this year. 6 touchdowns, 10 picks, completion percentage under 55%. He has been absolutely atrocious, Joe. And this is something that you were talking about on live a few weeks ago. We were like, oh, give him time. And again, it's only his 6th start, but good Lord, Joe. This is really, really bad, really, really fast for JJ McCarthy and these Minnesota Vikings. So give me your takeaways, man. What are you seeing from JJ McCarthy right now?
So he compared it to rewiring his brain. And it's like, you've played quarterback before. What do you mean rewiring your brain? And, they sort of showed it on the game today where, early on his stance was really wide and elongated. His leg was coming through. He looked like a guy that was trying to figure out his golf swing, like maybe I'll flip my leg out here and it'll help me, throw the ball a little better. But JJ McCarthy, when it's early on in the game and you're game scripting the drives and you're doing the things like those first 10 to 15 plays, right? And he looks really good, because everything's planned out. Everyone knows your first 10 to 15 plays are the most successful plays you're going to run all game. Guaranteed high percentage plays. That's what they're there for, to get you into a rhythm. When JJ McCarthy's operating off that early game script, those 10 to 15 plays early on in the game, he's fantastic. He's very, very good, right? You see the things like, hey, that's what they brought him in for. The minute you get outside of that, it starts to fall apart. Right? He's trying to work on his mechanics. And I don't think JJ McCarthy is necessarily a bad quarterback. I don't. Hear me out. This is the Minnesota Vikings' fault. Minnesota, over the last 4 years, averaged 32 attempts per game. They have been a 60-40 split passing offense since Adrian Peterson stopped donning a Minnesota Vikings uniform. They have been predominantly a pass-heavy offense. In fact, so pass-heavy that they outdid JJ McCarthy's average pass attempts per game by 10 pass attempts per game. He averaged 22 pass attempts per game his entire collegiate career. 22, right? And I didn't take away, I took out games that like he didn't start, right? It's 22. You took a guy who is, without a doubt, built to throw the ball 20 to 25 times a game and let a running game take over. And you put him into an offense that is meant to pass the football. You're meant to pass the football in this offense. You have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, who I would say is more of a receiving threat than he is a running back right now. Right? And has pretty much been his whole career. He's really been really good at catching the football out of the backfield and being mobile in space. That's what you brought him in for. And yet, you draft JJ McCarthy, who's very young, hasn't developed as a passer, and you're going to throw him in here, and we are like, oh, well, he's got all the weapons. He'll be fine. No, he won't. No, he won't. I understand, right? We thought, hey, the injury was a blessing. He got to sit, he got to learn, he got to digest the playbook. But we all forgot that this kid has never thrown the football this much. He's never been in a passing first offense. He was a one read, get him out of the pocket, make him mobile, throw the football. That's what he was in college. 1-2 reads run. 1-2 reads run. Well, in the NFL, 1-2 reads and run doesn't win you football games anymore. You have to be able to understand pre-snap, post-snap reads. You have to be able to digest your hot routes, what's going to go through your progressions correctly and rapidly. And yet JJ McCarthy can't do that. He's held the ball too long in situations. He's taken unnecessary sacks. He won't throw the football away. It's all the young things that you see and you're hoping he learns from it. It just doesn't happen week to week. I am not a JJ McCarthy hater. It's bad football. It's bad quarterback play. This is the Minnesota Vikings' fault. You drafted a quarterback that isn't a natural thrower of the football and expected everything to be fine.
And to your point about not being a natural thrower of the football, I've hammered the table on this. His release is long and slow, and it feels like the ball takes forever to get out of his hand. And two, you see with the more natural throwers of the footballs, your Mahomeses, your Josh Allens, your Joe Burrows, they can change arm angles too. Like they can get down underneath. Like Cam Ward, he can get down underneath, make a sidearm throw to get around a defender, or make a quick throw to get throw the bubble out there quick. JJ McCarthy, everything takes so long. It feels like he takes so long to read the coverage. Feels like it takes him so long to make the decision, and then it takes him so long to actually throw the football that it feels like the whole entire timing of the offense is just off. Everything is out of sync. And JJ McCarthy right now, again, like when I talk about how bad the numbers are, like these are historically bad numbers. Like 6 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's averaging about 150 passing yards per game. The man threw for 82 yards today, Joe. 82 yards. Again, it's a great Packers defense. Like, give the Packers defense credit. Jeff Hafley's probably going to be a head coach in the NFL next year. He's doing a great job as the DC. The personnel over there is amazing as well. But again, they were without Quay Walker today, one of their best linebackers on that defense, one of the best linebackers in football. So it's like they were missing a ton of pieces on offense as well. So like there's no real excuse for JJ McCarthy other than he's a young quarterback who's just not. To say he's not good is an understatement right now. He's horrible right now. He is the worst quarterback in football right now. Right?
Let's talk about it. So Justin Fields, not a good quarterback. Better QBR, better statistics,
better everything.
INT ratio, better everything. Okay. Cam Ward, less weapons, has looked bad at times this year. Better QBR rating. Geno Smith,
dude,
who has been dog water, and everyone knows it, right, this year. Better QBR. Dylan Gabriel, who all the Shador homers are saying is garbage and he shouldn't have been starting in the first place. This is Shador's team, right? Everyone's written off Dylan Gabriel better than JJ McCarthy, QBR-wise. He's got a better TD-INT ratio. He's got a better completion percentage. He's got less yards per game. But at the end of the day, Dylan Gabriel has played better according to the QBR rating, which is considered to be the primo de prim, right? That's the cream of the crop, how to rate a quarterback. Dylan Gabriel has played the quarterback position better than JJ McCarthy has. And like I said, it's not JJ's fault. He got put in a bad spot. Like the Minnesota Vikings drafted a guy who's not a natural thrower and one of the most dependent on passing game teams in the NFL.
JJ McCarthy, they needed to do a Jordan Love with JJ McCarthy or an Aaron Rodgers with JJ McCarthy, where it was sit him for 3 years. You should have re-signed Sam Darnold and then sit this man for 3 years. And then, year 4, year 5, see if he has developed, see if he's tightened that arm motion. Re-sign somebody, Mac Jones, like brought in a veteran quarterback that you could start for another couple of years, because it's clear this kid is not even close to being ready to start NFL football games right now. And now you really have no other options. It's him or Max Brosmer at this point, because Carson Wentz is out for the year. So you kind of have to just keep rolling JJ McCarthy out there and hope that he has some success. But right now he doesn't look good. But speaking of a guy that you just talked about, that you just brought up, Joe, we have to talk about it, okay? Because it's the guy that everybody wants to talk about. Shador Sanders, NFL debut. The Cleveland Browns get the win. But again, it's not really even about that, because nobody really cared who won that football game, okay? Nobody really was watching to see who won between the Browns and the Raiders. Nobody gave a shit about that. They wanted to see how Shador Sanders performed. And 11 of 20, which again, 55% completions. I'm disappointed in that because I think he's a more accurate passer than that. So 55% completions, not great. 209 yards, 10.5 yards per attempt, a touchdown, and a pick for Shador Sanders, an 87.3 rating. So a solid game from Shador. The best play that he made was that rolling out to the right, the deep ball, the 53-yard bomb that he threw down the field. Might have been the best throw of the day. Unbelievable play by Shador Sanders on that one. But it was a mixed bag. We did see him take an unnecessary sack, maybe get the team out of some plays, threw a bad pick as well from Shador there. So a mixed bag, but overall a solid first start for Shador Sanders. So Joe, what do you think about Shador Sanders' first start here against the Las Vegas Raiders?
Like mixed bags are good. I'm like I said, I'm very week to week on performances, right? You can be a good quarterback and have a bad game. You can be a good quarterback and play bad. Last week, Shedeur Sanders played bad. 4 of 16 is not good. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Oh, he didn't practice with first-team players. So we've seen backup quarterbacks come in and ball out. The guy has been in the offense for 10 weeks. He didn't pick up anything. Nothing. He's been playing scout team. He's thrown to somebody, right? Like, he's done something. You didn't see it last week. You saw some of it this week. To the point, right? First 10 plays of Shedeur's start looked really good, right? That script section that's supposed to be making it easy for the quarterback, he looked good. That was one, and in that place, that was that deep ball throw that he had there, right? Granted, you have to also remember this was against probably one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. So it wasn't like he was out there facing a top 10 team. It was a very quality time to start him, to see what he has. You saw him kind of sail a few throws on the move where the ball kind of came out and it just kind of sailed on him a little bit. But, like I said, I'm a week-to-week guy. Last week, did not play good quarterback play. Did not look like he was ready to start a game, right? Like, he was taking chances. He was trying to show he could take some chances and had a short memory and, did things last week. Didn't look good. This week, looked a little better. Right? Like, he did a lot of really good things. You could tell that they were kind of taking it easy with him. They ran a lot of Wildcat. They used Quinshon Judkins and Wildcat at the goal line, kind of took the ball out of Shedeur's hands a little bit in some of these key situations. They punted from the 40, like, which could have been a field goal, like the 35 or whatever it was. There were just certain things where, like, it's not worth putting them in a risk. Right? Like, we're up. We'll take our chances. Not a big deal. 20 pass attempts, you can kind of see that's indicative of someone handling a rookie quarterback or, kind of with kid gloves a little bit. 11 of 20, still a 10.5 average is a good clip for any quarterback. Any quarterback looks at this game, you'd like to not see the bad pick, but at the end of the day, you're right. This is a good quality start for Shedeur Sanders. Am I convinced that him or Dylan Gabriel are the answer? Not yet, right? Like, this is, 50% or just a hair over 50%, like what, 55% completion percentage. That's nothing I'm writing home about, right? Like, I would like to see that number pumped up because he showed in college that was one of the reasons that you got him, was that he was a highly accurate, threw really catchable ball and had a high completion percentage. I would like to see that number come up a little bit. But overall, hey, you got the win. Shedeur is 1-0 as a starter. And all the Shedeur homers should be absolutely ecstatic that he's 1-0 as a starter. And I know that there are some people on this podcast that are absolutely ecstatic that Shedeur Sanders is 1-0 as a starter. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about it to a certain extent, but I do think the numbers were goosed by that swing pass that he threw to Sampson, who then took it 66 yards. So again, his numbers look better, but again, he threw an accurate catchable ball, runner's ball, allowed Sampson to get upfield. So he does deserve a little bit of credit for that. But again, 65 yards after the catch there, I'm not crediting Shedeur too much with that. But like you were talking about, it's a solid start. It's nothing that if he continues this level of play throughout the rest of the year, it's nothing that the Browns are going to be like, we have our guy. Like, this is our guy. Like, if he has this same game performance the next 5 games, and he starts the next 5 games, because we don't know, maybe Dylan Gabriel comes back and gets the starting job next week. But if he has this same performance the next 5 games, I don't think his level of performance today keeps the Browns from picking another quarterback in next year's draft. Like, if they have a quarterback that they like, at the top of next year's draft, because they're going to have 2 first-round picks next year, I don't think that's going to prevent them from picking a quarterback. So we definitely still need to see more from Shedeur Sanders. Like, again, this is a solid first career NFL start. It's great to get off to get a win in your first career start. But again, it's more about the amazing Browns defense and Myles Garrett getting 3 more sacks today. He's going to absolutely smash this sacks record. He's going absolutely crazy for the Cleveland Browns. But yeah, solid start for Shedeur. Just nothing crazy and nothing that's really gonna light up our eyes as far as us Shedeur Sanders stands go. But we got to talk about this Indianapolis Colts in Kansas City Chiefs game that we saw today, because this was one of the best games that we saw coming, and it was one of the best games that we actually got to see today. 23-20. Kansas City over the Indianapolis Colts in overtime. A walk-off Harrison Butker field goal moves the Kansas City Chiefs to 6-5 and moves the Indianapolis Colts down to 8-3. And the Chiefs needed it really bad. Coming off back-to-back losses, obviously they were sitting in the 9th, or I think it was a 10 seed coming into today's game. The 10 seed in the AFC playoffs. They needed a win worse than they've needed a regular season win probably in the Patrick Mahomes era today, and they got it. It was a tough win. They were down 11 in the fourth quarter and managed to come back and beat your Indianapolis Colts, Joe. So, Joe, give me your takeaway from your Indianapolis Colts blowing an 11-point fourth quarter lead to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, to be fair, Patriots fan, my wife, the Colts fan, but no, I've been rooting for the Colts this year. I really think they still have a chance here. This was an away game coming out of the bye. I thought they had a chance to really, sort of put a nail in the coffin, as it were. And early on, it looked like they would do that. And I think the defense got a little after it. And I did say on the last time we had on here, we talked about the Chiefs. I said, if the Chiefs make the playoffs, it's not because of Patrick Mahomes. It's because of this defense. And when you can hold Jonathan Taylor down like they did, they really locked down the second half. The defense allowed them to get back in this game. There were plenty of times the Colts could have blown this thing open, and the defense held strong. This was this credit should go to the defense. And everyone's going to be like, Patrick Mahomes had 300 plus yards. He threw 49 times. Like, sure, he did. But the opportunities for Patrick Mahomes to do the things he did were there because of the defense. Now, previously, before we got on this live, I said, even though the Chiefs won this game, I feel like they lost the weekend. And you looked at me like, and because I asked you if I was crazy for that, and you said, absolutely. And I said, I'll explain. Now it's time for me to explain. If you look at the current standings, right, for the playoffs, the Chiefs are technically 2 games out. They're 2 games out of the playoffs right now because every single wild card has a head-to-head advantage against them. The Jags beat them. They're a game up, so they got to win 2. The Bills beat them. They're a game up, so they got to win 2. And the Chargers beat them. And they're a game up, and they got to win 2. They still face the Texans, who they're tied with, and that's the best defense in the NFL, right? So this still felt like a loss because the Bills allowed the Texans to beat them. And it felt like at the moment, I thought to myself as I'm laying in bed after Thursday Night Football, and go, the Bills are playing chess, not checkers. Like, it almost felt like it felt like even though they lost, they went home going, it could have been worse. Could have been worse.
If they actually did that, that would be insane. There's no way they actually did that.
No, there's no way. But it's still
no
a
way
little
that actually
diabolical when you think about it, because you look at the Chiefs' schedule. They still got to face the Texans. They have to basically win 2 more games, more than every team in front of them, right? And granted, the Jacksonville Jaguars look like the weakest link there.
Yeah,
but you still have the Texans, right? And so you're looking at this game, and you're like, yeah, you beat them in overtime, right? And you're like, damn, that could be a playoff matchup. I mean, that could be wild card matchup.
Oh yeah,
right. Easy day.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at the playoff rankings, and you're like, man, the Chiefs, like, you're still on the outside looking in. You're still technically 2 games back, because if you finish tied with the Bills, Jags, and Chargers, they all end up with the same record. The Chiefs don't get in. They don't get in.
Yeah, they and the Chiefs, obviously, I completely disagree, because if they lost today, then that would be, they'd basically be done.
You'd be done.
They would have to go undefeated down the stretch. But I mean, looking at this schedule, they still have 4 pretty tough games. They got Cowboys next week, then it's Texans, then it's Chargers, then they got an easy one with the Titans, but then it's Broncos, and then they have another easy one with the Raiders to end the season. So they got 4 of their 6 games are losable games. Like, they can lose 4 of these 6 games. So they're going to have to rattle off 5 or 6 wins in these last 6 games if they want to really make a run at the playoffs. However, again, this game to me kind of confirmed my biases, I guess you could say, about both of these teams for me preseason and going into the season. It confirmed for me that I don't care about Kansas City's record. I don't care about it at all. I don't give a single shit about it. If this team makes the playoffs, they can beat anybody. If the Kansas City Chiefs make the playoffs, I do not care who they're playing. I don't care what their record is. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes is there, if Andy Reid is there, if Travis Kelce is there, if Chris Jones is there, if they're somewhat relatively healthy, this team can still make the Super Bowl, even though they're sitting at 6-5 right now. And the Indianapolis Colts, this is what I was worried about. Okay, like you mentioned, the Chiefs stopped Jonathan Taylor. Okay, and who does that put the pressure on? It puts the pressure on Daniel Jones. And if you look at Daniel Jones' second half statistics, when the pressure was all on him, when Jonathan Taylor couldn't carry the load, when Jonathan Taylor didn't have 250 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, how did Daniel Jones perform? Again, he didn't turn the ball over today, which is a positive sign. But again, he didn't make any plays to win them the game in the second half. And one of those touchdowns, by the way, in the first half was because Mahomes had thrown a pick to set him up, 2 yards away from the end zone in the first half as well. So again, Daniel Jones is my biggest concern with this Indianapolis Colts team because I thought the defense looked really good today. They shut down the Chiefs for the most part. Obviously, we saw Rashee Rice break off a couple of really big catch and runs that set the Chiefs up for their victory. But the defense stopped the run. Kareem Hunt had 30 carries for 100 yards. That's basically 3.3 yards a clip. So they shut him down in the run game, and then Mahomes didn't throw for any touchdowns. He threw a pick. So I thought the defense looked good, but the Indianapolis Colts, I can't trust you because Daniel Jones has not shown me that he can be trusted in these big moments. And we'll see what happens going forward. But man, I just don't know if I can trust this Indianapolis Colts team as far as a playoff contender because, and I want to talk about this game because it's our team and we run out of time already because Sunday Night Football starts in 10 minutes. But I do want to talk about this game because it's our team. The New England Patriots escape the Cincinnati Bengals 26-20. Obviously, me and you were both watching this game. I was watching it very, very nervous because this defense didn't look as good as I wanted it to. And then the offensive line, super banged up. Will Campbell did not look good, obviously, with Will Campbell. Morgan Moses was banged up in this game. We saw left guard Jared Wilson lead this game as well. And we saw that dramatically affect this offense. And we saw the Cincinnati Bengals defense that was also super banged up look much more capable than it's shown to be the entire season. So, Joe, what was your takeaway from, even though our Patriots moved to 10-2, a place that even I, who was high on the Patriots, did not think that we were going to be preseason. But again, 10-2 win, but at a cost, Joe. What do you think about our Patriots winning this game?
This was the worst probably played game I've seen the Patriots have since week 1 against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Just we'll put it out there, right? This was a bad game. I mean, Drake May looked like he forgot how to throw a football.
Terrible in the first quarter. What the hell was that?
I don't know. It was sailing on him. He wasn't accurate with it. It was concerning. I don't understand. I don't know if it was the lighting in there in Cincinnati because that stadium's got, has that sun coming in it, kind of half the field's in the shade, half it's not. I don't know if that was messing with him or what it was, but this was probably the worst game we've seen Drake May play in recent memory. And it's concerning, especially when you start to look at, Morgan Moses went out of this game a little bit, like we already talked about Wilson going down. And then you talk about Campbell, Campbell at least was questionable. And I think he did get back out there for a couple of snaps, but still carted off is nothing you want to see, especially when you talk about the continuity of the offensive line has been one of the reasons that this offense has been clicking so well. So you really have a lot of questions. And it just seemed like everyone was going down with an injury there in Cincinnati on both sides of the ball. It didn't seem to matter. I mean, I think just about every 4 or 5 plays on average, it seemed like there was a stoppage in play for some injury at some point in time. But to your point, this game was interesting to say the least. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson had a 0.8 yards per carry. This was just very strange, and you can kind of see when you lose the continuity on the offensive line, sort of what can happen. But Drake May seemed to get on track late in the game to kind of help the Steelers win. But then again, at the fourth quarter, it seemed like it just went right back to the first quarter again. It was bookending it with 2 very bad quarters of play, and that's concerning to me. And to your point, it's kind of seeming like you start to see the weaknesses of these teams that we were high on early on that are now starting to regress a little bit, seemingly for no reason. Unless it's just more tape coming out on them or something like that opens the door for the Chiefs, a team like the Chiefs, to come back. It's this way looking.
Yeah, it's and to your point, Joe, I was disappointed with a lot of aspects of this game. I was really disappointed with the Patriots goal line offense. They had like 8 shots to score inside the 5-yard line on one possession, and they couldn't get it into the end zone. And then they had it back down there in another possession, they couldn't get it into the end zone again. So again, super frustrating as far as that goes, as far as the Patriots goal line offense goes. But we did see, again, we were talking about it in our chat, in our Discord, Joe. Drake May's probably the best deep ball thrower in the NFL right now. This guy throws an absolutely beautiful deep ball. The one down the seam to Demario Douglas, where somehow they got a linebacker matched up on Demario Douglas. That's a big time mismatch. Took advantage of it. And then there was another really nice one that he had to Mac Hollins down the sideline as well, which was absolutely beautiful throw there too. So Drake May looked, besides that first quarter, looked spectacular. But like we talked about in that first quarter, I have no idea what that was. That's the worst I've seen him look this entire season as far as that goes. So yeah, Drake May bounced back after that rough first quarter. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm concerned about with these New England Patriots, despite the fact that we're 10-2. I thought we were going to win 10 games this year. I did not think we were going to win 10 of our first 12 games this year. Very, very impressive from the New England Patriots. But they've got a couple of tough games coming up here pretty soon. It's Ravens and Bills here coming up for the Patriots. So we're going to see a little bit more of what they're made of. But Joe, we're coming up here on Sunday Night Football, okay? And this is a big one, okay? Tampa Bay Bucks 6-4 are going on the road to the Los Angeles Rams, who are 8-2. And Joe, I do not know about you. I do not have a good feeling about this game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think it's going to go well for them. I think this Rams team is just in a rhythm right now. I think this Rams team is the best team in football right now, especially after we saw what just happened with the Philadelphia Eagles, like our boy Joe or our boy Josh is in the chat talking about right now. He's really excited about his Cowboys. We know you're really excited about your Cowboys. Breaking news, Josh, you're still not making the playoffs. Anyways, okay, I think the Rams are the best team in the league right now. I think they're clicking on all cylinders, and this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team has not looked good the past few weeks, and they're still banged up. So to me, I think this is going to be a Los Angeles Rams victory here. Joe, what do you think about this Sunday Night Football game between the Bucs and the Rams?
Yeah, early on in the season, we probably thought that this game was going to be a shootout, right? Like we thought this was going to be a really, really good game. Unfortunately, with the injuries and everything else, this is just not going to be a good game right now for Baker and the Bucs. It's just is what it is. Baker can only carry them so far. You know, they've dealt with injuries all year, and it seems to be every single time that when we talk about the Buccaneers, you know, and they're sort of having a bad year, it's always injuries with the Bucs. And you know, that's the case, it just kind of is what it is. But I still have faith in the Bucs. I think the Bucs are still going to be very or be something to be reckoned with later in the year. I think they're still going to make the playoffs. I think they have a shot. But this game right now on the road, you know, prime time, I feel like it just isn't going to work out well. I definitely have the Rams in this game. Just purely off of the injuries the Bucs are dealing with. It's unfortunate, but the Rams are showing why they're the best team in the NFL.
No doubt. Yeah. And two, the Bucs defense just hasn't been good lately. They're dealing with a lot of injuries themselves. And this Rams offense, especially with the way Drake May performed today, I think Matthew Stafford's got to be the clear front runner at this point for MVP. Matthew Stafford has been absolutely unbelievable. You got those two receivers, you got Kyron Williams in the backfield. I just don't think it's going to go well for these Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. So I agree with you, Joe. I think it's going to be Rams winning this. But real quick, Monday Night Football tomorrow. Okay. The Carolina Panthers at 6-5 are going on the road to the San Francisco 49ers. And if what actually happens in Sunday Night Football ends up happening where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose, we can look up after Monday Night Football if the Carolina Panthers win. And the Carolina Panthers, I'm knocking on wood because I predicted this preseason. I'm knocking on wood because the Carolina Panthers could potentially be leading the NFC South after Monday Night Football. So, Joe, what do you think? Will that happen? Will we see a Carolina Panthers victory here on Monday Night Football against these San Francisco 49ers, or do we see the Niners go to 8-4?
This is a game that I'm going to watch very intently. I think everyone's going to be watching this game very intently. And it's kind of crazy because earlier in the year, I think everyone saw this. You don't, have a bunch of football, pages on your Instagram. You may not have, but there was a podcast that was a Panthers podcast that after like week 3 was like, I'm done.
Can't do this shit
Panthers.
anymore.
We're quitting. We can't take it anymore. The stressors.
I forgot about that.
And now the Panthers may just be the number 1 spot in the NFC South following week 12. It would be absolutely insane. to go from that low, where like this podcast's been going for, I think they've been going for like 10 years or something like that. It was
they've been going for a while.
Right? Finally can't take it anymore and hangs it up. And now they're first in the division. You can't start it back up. You got to stop. Like,
no,
you just got to put another thing out saying we will not start again until they suck again because we don't want to jinx what's going on.
Yeah, just for the good of the team. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, they just gotta let it rock. They gotta be so mad though. They're like literally as soon as we quit, the team gets solid. And we talked about this on a previous episode. I still don't think the Panthers are like good. Like they're 6-5, but I don't think they're a good football team. Like they've won a lot of close games, but it's been a lot of ugly, grinded out type football games here for Carolina. And as much as I want the Carolina Panthers to win this game, as much as I truly want them to win this NFC South, just to have my prediction be, an amazing prediction because I got shit on it for all preseason and during the season as well when they started off bad. But I do think the Niners are going to win this game, despite the Niners being super banged up. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game because I think both of these offenses are capable of putting a lot of points on the opposing team's defense. But since it's in San Francisco, they're 7-point favorites. I think the Niners are the better team here. I think the Niners win. I think it's going to be like 30-27. I do think it's going to be a good football game, but the Niners are going to beat, I guess they're my Carolina Panthers, and the Panthers are going to go to 6-6. And the whole thing that I just said about the Panthers potentially leading the NFC South is not going to come true. But that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday Night Football is about to start, so we have to get out of here. If you watch, thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that we love as YouTubers, and that's going to be it for us today. Peace.